Hey, how's it going, everybody? Oh man, I just got in about an hour ago. Even had to brave nearly getting drenched on by the rain, but I saw the Batman and I will say I really liked it. I'm not saying it's like the greatest Batman film in the world, but it was solid. It, I think there are some things about it that, again, like Ryan Kennel has talked about, and it's And I mean, yeah, there's like one moment that is like literally just one moment, one single line of dialogue that is woke. And that's all I'm really going to say about it. That's all I will say, that there is only one small bit of wokeness in this movie. But overall, the film is solid. And there is a couple other, fumbles. But going into a little bit of a story time here, I wasn't sure what to think of this movie, or at least really what to think of Pattinson when the movie was first announced. And I also want to point out that, yeah, I wore this Batman t-shirt to the show as well. So, yeah, it was pretty decent. It's a pretty decent film. But like I said, though, I wasn't really entirely sold on Robert Pattinson as Batman, but he somewhat surprised me a little bit. I mean, sure, he really kind of got a little bit of Batman down, but again, there's not really much else to really, go on, because there's like one time where there's like a couple times where he kind of fumbles a bit, but there's only like one actual like true Batman moment, but that's only when something really serious is about to happen. But other than that, there is a lot of great cinematography. I think even near the end, there's a pretty symbolic shot that I truly, truly did like. And I know there is one thing that kind of did set up near the end with the main villain or possibly a sequel. But I look forward to seeing more coming in the future. And I know I did see a little teaser for like a lot of other DC films that are going to be coming out this year. Like they showed a little bit of Black Adam, the Flash movie, Aquaman 2. But the only other film I think I'm looking forward to seeing this year is probably just Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And there really is not really much on the plate for the slate of 2022 films other than the Batman. I mean, I only saw it really to see what all the hoopla and hype was about it, but I really did think it was a pretty decent film. But if you want to talk about like other characters, Pattinson, like I said, Pattinson was okay as Batman. I kind of was on a stream with Josh Revin earlier in the day, and I had to leave because I was going to go and see the movie. And yeah, I will say one thing. Robert Pattinson does play he kind of plays it somewhat flat a little bit, but yeah, he kind of also sells Batman being angry a little bit better than Bale did when confronting the villain. Convincingly angry. But Andy Serkis, there's one great moment with him in the movie, and I know he is pretty decent as Alfred, but I'd still say the best highlight of the film is probably, in terms of characters, is probably Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon. I think he did a pretty good job. He's probably, like, you could say the exact same thing. He was probably the best Felix Leiter we got in the Craig Bond films, or very much any Bond film ever. And I mean, he's only had like 3 appearances throughout Craig's era, but he sold us on this CIA agent. And literally, you really did sell the fact that, these two really did trust each other. I mean, at point, and I know it's just like nothing between them was really broken, I will say. They really did just like really sell the idea that they really trusted each other with all of this. But to put it in specifics, what I said that it's a very different movie. It feels like a classic noir film. It really does. And I truly do stand by that. There's a lot of like crime centric ideas in the crime centric plot, and I mean all of it really is leading up to, like, it is literally a trail of breadcrumbs. And I mean, and also I will say this, that the main villain, he actually wanted to get caught, and that's why he sort of like leaves a little trail of breadcrumbs for Batman to find. And again, it's classic noir detective story. I would say, yeah. I mean, you have that sort of hard boy. You have like, hard boy, like Gordon trying to be the detective here. I mean, really, more or less, they're both detectives in this. I mean, you got like Batman just being, well, trying to at least being Batman. You got Commissioner Gordon trying to like push one person they like interrogate in the film. But there is some pretty solid action in the film as well. So I will say, yeah, I wouldn't exactly say it's really good chemistry, but it is it is just like that. Everything about this film is decent, and I will say they have, like, again, showing that sort of thing with the dynamic that sort of like, it really isn't really back and forth, but it really kind of sell that they really kind of trust each other at least. So I will say that. And Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, hmm, I'm a bit mixed on her. And that there's like something, I know, the woke breaker. He talked to me, so was told me this on Twitter just a few minutes ago. But yeah, there is one like, so quote unquote woke line, and she's the one that is the one that utters that line. I will gladly say that. And of course, I mean, but everybody else, any other characters are perfectly fine. There's no like overt thing. I mean, there's no overt overarching stuff. Just the line itself is just the only bad thing, and there's only like one major fumble with, or a couple major fumbles with darn it, Pattinson as Batman. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it looked like, from his perspective, it looked impressive at first, but you think it's not. But it would do something that Batman would kind of do, but it's not. But it's kind of somewhat unconventional. But it's slightly sort of different of how you would expect Batman to do it. And this is the point where he fumbles a little bit in one of these scenes. And this is like, oh, dude, oh, I was like, oh man, you just, I don't know why that they just did that part, but like I said, though, it's a little different. It's only slightly different than what we usually see Batman do. And that's about it. That's all I really can say about it, though. I mean, there is a lot. I mean, all the plot lines, like, again, the antagonist is trying to quote unquote unmask everything about that is bad about Gotham. I will just simply say that. And corruption is in places you probably would expect them to be. So I will also just say that. And it is, hmm, I really say this? It's just like, again, it's hard giving my raw thoughts sometimes because I don't really know how to really describe things. But I will say, I'm going to say once again, this movie was good. It had great action. It had a lot of great action. I mean, the best action scene is the one that I will say it involves the Batmobile. I will definitely say that it's probably one of the best action scenes of the film, personally. And that's about it. I mean, you have other key characters of the Batman mythos, uh, like one of them being the Penguin. Isn't the Penguin's in this movie? I will definitely say that, but the person playing him, I would assume that the Penguin is supposed to be like British or something to that effect, but he gotta play him off as like that as like another generic mobster with a classic Italian sounding voice, kind of stuff like that. Uh, that's about it. And I know I talked about this with Christine the Killer Car and Josh Revin a little bit earlier about this, and I know I was kind of like a bit interrupted at points, but overall, yeah, they do take a lot of cues from the Batman Telltale games. So if you have played those games, there are a bit of like plot cues from that game. I will definitely say that also without really spoiling too much. But overall, I will say gladly this film is solid, and I say if you're a Batman fan, go watch it. And I know definitely I kind of also got in this on with people on Twitter is that people who are fans of Robert Pattinson are probably gonna go see this movie too. So they're obviously it's like guaranteed they're gonna go see it. But as a Batman film, it's great. I mean, if you're a fan of classic noir films, it's also a pretty decent film for any of you just general movie buffs or people who have had a love for that genre film. Because I mean, I'm not sure we've seen much in terms of the noir genre, but it feels very noir esque with this Batman film, and it really sells the idea of Batman being the world's greatest detective somewhat. But again, like I said, my other criticism is that yeah, he does Robert Pattinson both plays Bruce Wayne a little bit like almost flat a little bit. But I know, and all those people who kind of made that rumor up, I did see one point, which I know all the Twilight fans are probably going to swoon over it when they see it. But I think Pattinson really did put some of the work in for to be physical as Batman. You can tell. I think in that scene, you kind of tell he did put a little bit of the work in. So for all you ladies out there who are fans of him, there's your fan service right there in that movie. You're gonna see it. And those are my overall thoughts. I mean, I'm not gonna do I'm not gonna do a spoiler review, but I still think a lot of people should really go see it so they can really gauge it. And I mean, I mean, I would love to have a deep dive with someone on someone else's channel about this movie. And yeah, so I'll say this: the Batman is definitely a decent film. It's a good noir film. It's a decent Batman film, and I'd say give it a watch. Give it a good solid watch. But that's all I'm gonna give it right now, guys. So thank you for tuning in for this little quick live review slash thoughts thing, and I'll see you whenever. So peace out, and may the force be with you. And remember, I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am not really Batman, but you get the point. See ya.